Hey guys, Cyborg here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the DC Multiverse Cyborg Superman from New 52. This of course brought to us by the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys. And let me tell you what, this figure was eluding me for the longest time, but I lucked out one faithful morning, early morning, and was snooping around ye old Amazon of all places and managed to snag this guy up. He was in stock. Well, technically he was a pre-order, but I got him in less than a week, so I'm very happy to finally have this figure in hand. It's a pretty cool figure, but it's not the Cyborg Superman we all know and love. Hank Henshaw is the Cyborg Superman we all know and love, but this guy right here is actually Zor-El, the father of Kara Zor-El. I had a brain fart for a minute there. AKA Supergirl. And if you're familiar with the My Adventures with Superman animated series, where Brainiac kind of made Supergirl his apprentice, very similar thing happens here. The only difference is Brainiac took control of Zor-El with all this crazy nanotech business going on. So there you go. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Cyborg Superman has to offer in terms of accessories. Starting off the collectible trading card. Smile on the back, but I pretty much just gave you the gist of what's going down with this version of Cyborg Superman. And he also comes with a flight stand of all things. I say that because this figure is absolutely massive. So this little rinky-dink flight stand is going to warp on you if you don't use it right. But there, he comes with one of those. Nice tight clip on it, at least at first. Then after a while it gets loose and it's pretty much useless unless you want to put Marvel Legends on it, because those don't weigh anything. That said, I did put him on a hockey puck display stand for use, seeing with all McFarlane Toys releases. I think this came with the Atom digital collection figure, and it doesn't feel like my review set's gonna fall down. It's been falling down on me lately, so I've had to reshoot some things, but very cool looking figure. This thing is crazy looking. He's got a tattered cape, which I didn't even notice at first, not until I opened him. So he's got that going on. He's got a big Ars Freddy Krueger hand, which surprisingly just has a disc hinge in it. Doesn't actually have the ball hinge we're used to seeing. He also only has a single jointed elbow on this side. Another thing we're not used to seeing very much anymore. This side has something very similar to the Mr. Freeze. The comic book versions of Mr. Freeze we've gotten, where he's got the kind of bicep cap that leads into the elbow joint here, and then the elbow joint plugs into the forearm. So it makes it pinless, in a sense. Very NECA-ish with that. You can rotate him at the elbow, at the upper elbow, but not so much at the lower one. You don't get a ton of twist there. And I will say, it's a little gummy because it's very skinny. It's very skinny. I wouldn't have minded if this was just a regular joint. I don't know why they went and did that, but it is what it is. He's got crazy clawed feet. I will say he's a little tricky to stand with these, but not that bad. Especially if you get the feet lined up, but very, very cool figure. Lifting the cape up, you can see on the back, he's got a metal spine and everything going on there. It basically looks like a Bayformer to me. It's just like, he's got the big, gnarly, 2007 movie Megatron claw. He's got the freaking spine on the back. He's got clawed feet. The only thing he needs is some chicken legs. And then here's the head sculpt. Very cool head sculpt. I like that quite a bit. But, yeah, man, that's Cyborg Superman for you. So as far as articulation goes, his head will rotate side to side. It'll look up pretty good. Down pretty good. Which is good. He is freaking tall, and we'll see that in comparisons. He does have a tilt side to side. This arm will go out, back down, rotate all around. He does have that rotator cap in there. Gets pretty good range. Bicep swivel. Double elbow, that works fine. He's got a ball hinge wrist on this side that can rotate, hinge, rotate again. I will say it's a little tighter in the hand than it is in the forearm, so be mindful of that. That's at least how mine is. And then on this side, you get the same shoulder articulation and even bicep, but you do get a single elbow with rotation in the wrist with a hinge. You see we got like a little S shield on the back of his hand there. That's kind of funny. As far as the torso goes, he can lean this far back and this far forward. It is not the tightest thing on the torso, unfortunately. It is very... I don't want to say it's floppy or anything, because it really isn't. But it's not the best thing ever. I might actually put some kikis or something in there, tighten that up, because it's just... I don't know, it just seems like it could be a lot tighter, and it's not. I could get a replacement, mind you, but who wants to deal with that? He does have a ball-jointed waist. That does rotate around. Not so much lean back and forth, but it does get it side to side. I should say his torso does have good side-to-side tilt there. He does have a decent range in the hips. They can kick out, back down. They can kick forward and back. He does have a little thigh cut in there, which isn't bad. Double knee, nice and crunchy knees. That's the other reason. He's got really tight legs. Then he's got ball jointed feet, or ball hinge feet that can rotate, hinge, pivot, and then he's got the toe joint, which is tight on both sides, I think. Yeah. We'll say this one feels like it needs to lock down some more. Yeah, it's not really going down any more than that, but there you go. That is Cyborg Superman in a nutshell. He is cool. He has his shortcomings, but definitely, I think, one of the better Multiverse figures to come out this year. But I think the joints could have used some tightening. And he could have used, like, another hand for this side, maybe. Maybe even this side, but I don't know. If you're not going to use that Freddy Krueger claw, I don't know what's wrong with you. But that's the cooler hand of the hands he's got. But unfortunately, I do not have the Rebirth Supergirl to compare this guy to. But I do have the Superman from Return of Superman and some of the other Reign of the Supermen characters that we can compare him to. Because I'll be honest with you, if you want a more traditional Hank Henshaw looking Superman, the not Return of Superman figure, but the Dark Knight Returns Superman figure that utilizes the same parts, if you kit bash this guy with him and the Injustice 2 Brainiac, you could easily get a more traditional looking Cyborg Superman, a Hank Henshaw Cyborg Superman, if you will. And you might even be able to find a cape without all the tatters in it. I like the cape with the tatters, but old Hank Henshaw did not have one of those in the comics. So, with that being said, it is time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Cyborg Superman alongside the Man of Steel himself. Of course, we are talking about Clark Kent, a.k.a. Kal-El, a.k.a. Superman. This is the collector edition from the Return of Superman that came with Crypto. Shout out to my good buddy Evil Villain on the hookup on that one. And it's got to be only a matter of time until we get a solar and or regeneration suit with this head on it, right? Right. Let's not kid ourselves here. But as you can see, the Cyborg Superman is quite a bit taller than both him and another character that made an appearance throughout the Reign of the Supermen run. Steel, my personal favorite of the good guy Superman, also not based off that run, might I add. So, yeah, while we got all the characters from Reign of the Supermen, we also have Connell Kent, Superboy, and the Eradicator. None of them really go with each other. So, everyone that gives Hasbro crap for making Marvel Legends figures in the wrong costume, yeah, y'all could do that for McFarlane toys too. But that said, it took us long enough to get the 5 characters we got from that run, so I'm just going to count our blessings and say that's good enough for now. But I do want a more traditional Cyborg Superman at some point. I think the steel you could easily fudge. He's classic enough. That said, we also have our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibolith, right here. And the infamous Living Spawn, who, as usual, actually, now Cyborg Superman is a little bit taller than good old Al Simmons here. Then again, he is pretty much a giant in this form, so I guess that makes sense. Well, that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and whether you prefer the Jor-El version of the character, or if you're like me and prefer the traditional Hank Henshaw version, there is no trace of doubt in my mind, to quote both the Monkees and Smash Mouth, that good old Cyborg Superman here is quite the awesome addition to the DC Multiverse line brought to us by the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys. Even more so if you are able to obtain the Platinum Edition version of this figure, which has, in my opinion, better paint apps. That said, what we have for the standard version here is no slouch either. This is definitely going to be a contender for one of the top Multiverse figures of the year, and if I do a video like that, fingers crossed we do, then I'm definitely going to take him into consideration, because I really, really, really like this figure, despite its shortcomings. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.